Every single day, South Africa loses millions of litres of water to leakages caused by aging infrastructure, poor maintenance and failing municipal systems. Water that could otherwise supply thousands of households or fill hundreds of water tankers, serving communities with dry taps. In a country already ranked among the 30 most water-scarce nations in the world, experts warn that corruption, mismanagement and irregular procurement are worsening the crisis and delaying critical water infrastructure. Now, in an effort to tackle corruption in the sector, the Special Investigating Unit, as well as the Department of Water and Sanitation, have launched the Water Sector Anti-Corruption Forum, a multi-stakeholder platform aimed at strengthening investigations, prevention and enforcement across the water. The initiative forms part of South Africa's broader anti-corruption strategy and aims to coordinate law enforcement, government, civil society and private sector actors in protecting one of the country's most critical resources, water. Now, meanwhile, the NPA has issued a stern warning stating that it is already looking into some corruption cases.
From the asset recovery, what we are saying now is that once we have taken your assets, we'll ensure that we prosecute you. We'll ensure that we prosecute you so that over and above having taken your asset, you end up in jail.
All right, to unpack this further, we're now joined by SIU Acting Head Leonard Lekgetho, National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson Kaiser Khanyago, I beg your pardon, as well as water activist Dr. Ferial Adam. A very good afternoon to you all. I do believe that Dr. or Mr. Lekgetho will be joining us a little bit later on. But perhaps, Kaiser, let me start with you. We've just, of course, heard there from the new NPA head. Speak to us about that particular statement that was made earlier on. Of course, the NPA issuing a very stern warning stating that it is looking into several corruption cases, particularly as to our discussion here on the water crisis situation and how this new forum is aimed at tackling corruption.
Very much, Unati, and thank you to your viewers. We are busy as the NPA looking at the referrals that were sent to us by the SIU in order to make sure that we follow up all of them. Because if you look at the referrals that were mentioned at the launch, they were saying there are about 270 that have already been referred to us. But in the meantime, we were already dealing with the matters that we have on our books, like the Royval, like the Guyane water, that are already referred to the NPA. Therefore, we are in the position where we can say that we are going to follow up on all of those matters and be in a position to deal decisively with the matters when we take them to court to make sure that the people that have done wrong, the asset forfeiture unit will deal with them in terms of the recovery of the assets, and then they will then be taken through the courts so that they are dealt with criminally and they are put in jail.
Yeah, and I mean, we'll come to just some of those investigations and some of the schemes that you are also picking up, Kaiser. But Dr. Adam, let me bring you into the discussion. I mean, I spent quite some time a few weeks ago with you going through some of the hard-hit areas in terms of water shortages in Johannesburg. When we look at, some of the concerns on the table and we particularly zoom in on corruption, just speak to us about just how damaging corruption is to the country's long-term water security particularly.
Good afternoon, Unati, and to your viewers. I think corruption is one of the worst things affecting water supply and sanitation as well. Besides the fact that we have aging infrastructure, corruption is actually quite a thorn in the side of, I would say, water providers. And so if you look at it, the impact is felt right down to the ground. If you think of people that when they open their tap, they don't have water or they don't have access to proper sanitation. So I do think that this is it's a very important body. And I think we've been waiting for this for quite some time. I think they also should, when you talk about the outages we've been seeing across the country, WaterCan has proposed that the water tanker sector should be something that should be given the kind of effort that this body can do in terms of anti-corruption.
Yeah. Mr. Khanyaho, so the SIU, as well as the Department of Water and Sanitation, have now launched the Water Sector Anti-Corruption Forum. Perhaps give us a sense in terms of how these law enforcement authorities, including, of course, civil society and government, the concrete powers and the mechanism of this kind of a forum, your role as the NPA, what it would be too in this particular type of forum. Perhaps just give us a sense in terms of the levels of engagement you will be having with these various bodies.
Yes, this forum that is chaired by the SIU is one of many that have been there already, and this is just one that is been launched now. And what the forums do is they put in themselves the NPA, it will be SARS, it will be many other organizations of government, including civil society, so that we then have a coordinated way of dealing with these matters that are in this particular sector. And then we also have a situation where we are holding each other accountable when it comes to the issues that are related to water. Therefore, for an example, if civil society comes and reports something, and then it is then reported to investigators, they will then say when they are done that you have sent this thing to the NPA. The NPA must come to these meetings and give a report on a monthly basis to say how far are the matters and what is being done about them.
Yeah, I do believe Mr. Lekgetho has now joined us, and that, of course, is the acting head of the SIU. So a very good afternoon to you. So I want to pose that very same question in terms of, the Water Sector Anti-Corruption Forum that has now been, set up, including, of course, all of these role players, government and civil society too. Speak to us then about, the concrete powers or even the mechanism that this forum will have that previous anti-corruption initiatives did not have, particularly as we are in the throes of a water crisis.
Thank you for the opportunity, and apology for the disconnection. Indeed, this sector we are taking it, the fight against corruption at another level. We used to do the way we used to investigate, but for now we are trying to step it up in the way that we have realized that fighting corruption is everybody's responsibility, meaning that the community needs to get involved, the civil society, and everybody needs to get involved. So that's why we said, let's come together. More importantly, we know the people that are committing crime. They are our next door neighbors. They are people that are staying in our street. So what if we bring the community together? It will enhance us to be able to fight this corruption quite quicker. We have noted in our investigation as the SIU that most of the cases that we have dealt with, the information was provided by whistleblower. And these are whistleblower, the people that are staying in the community who can able to enhance us with the information. And we know that the community trusts some of the private sector, the civil society, they give them information, then we are able to get information from the civil society. And what is important also is to give feedback on why we are in terms of the matter. This is one loop that has been going on where people say we report, we don't know what happened to the matter. Now, if we have civil society there and we hold ourselves accountable to say this matter was reported, what is the outcome? In that way, we are able to report back and give the community back the information to see what is it that we are doing. Thank you.
Mr. Khanyaho, perhaps let me bring you there quickly before I bring in Dr. Adam. In terms of the NPA, you've received, several referrals from the SIU linked to corruption in the water sector as we started off our conversation. How many of these cases and these matters are currently before the courts as we speak? In fact, I would imagine that recent 75 million rand Alfred Nzo water tanker fleet case is one example.
is one example, but also there are matters that are related to the Guyana water project that are also part of the matters that are before our courts. And the ones that have been referred now, they are going to be looked at, and then we check as to whether there is enough evidence for prosecution purposes. And once we find that there is, then we will then enroll them into the system. Those that needs to be given further investigation will then be either sent back to the SIU or back to or further to the Hawks so that they are investigated further, because we don't want to take matters to court which are not ready in terms of enough evidence for a successful prosecution.
Yeah. Dr. Adam, let me bring you in here. This water sector anti-corruption forum is now set up. Do you believe that it is the kind of forum that can realistically change how the sector is currently managed? I mean, we're also hearing, particularly in those areas that are water scarce, of water mafias, and how they've infiltrated many a community, not just in Gauteng, but in most parts of the country.
So yeah, that's a very good question. I mean, I think, on the whole, I think this body is important. I think that it has a role to play. But because of what we've been experiencing on the ground, there's a lot of people, well, I would say there's a lack of trust between people and government. So I think the real proof of the pudding, so to speak, would come in the actual people facing jail term and actual charges being brought down on people. And that's the kind of thing that's going to make people have faith in this. As we see it, it's definitely giving us something as in the water sector. I think that the kind of corruption we're seeing in the water sector is at that kind of beginning phase that can really be clamped down at the moment before it gets any worse. And I think this body is an answer to that. But and I like also the fact that it's not just government. It's got the different arms of government as well as including civil society, because that's where a lot of the whistleblowers come from. So that kind of, the mechanism is there, the body looks right. What needs to happen now is the action. So we've been talking about it for about a year. Now we need to see it in action. And I think that would give a lot of people back the hope that's needed to build the kind of issues around our water and sanitation. And having said that, this is it's a parallel process. It doesn't mean that now we have this body that everyone's going to have water and clean sanitation in the near future. Those are different structures, but I do think we need to support this forum to make sure that all kind of corrupt dealings, and it's in different ways. It's not just a water tanker, but the water tanker mafia can be a flagship project. It can be the one kind of first project that the forum takes on, quite passionately, and we end the water tanker mafia quite soon.
Yeah. And Mr. Legato, let's perhaps end with you, and having listened to what Dr. Adam has been saying, what would that immediate action look like? Because we know, of course, everything seems all well and good on paper, but there is a crisis currently unfolding. Perhaps just give us a sense in terms of what are we likely to see in the coming days, in the coming weeks?
No, thank you so much. I agree that it doesn't mean that now the forum is here, there's going to be a lot of water through all the members. Currently, what's going to happen, the immediate action will be, actually, I wouldn't even say the immediate action, because this forum has been functioning. Yesterday, it was just a launch, but the forum has been functioning, and we've been meeting together, we'll be consolidating some of the investigation. So all we need to do is to start making sure that we account to the public, we give them feedback as to where we are, and we are able to get out, because the purpose of the launch was so that people can know and people can able to see where they need to report the matter. So there are some action already. Like you have indicated, we have referred 270 matters to the NPA, and there are currently civil litigation currently in court. We have recovered certain money. So the work is continuing. It's just continuing. For now, it's just that it's going to be more coordinated, quite properly so that there are no duplication and we are able to get together and to fight this water activity corruption. So we will be seeing some action and we'll make sure that we come and give feedback in terms of some of the outcome that we'll be getting. And we are happy that the head of NPA has made commitment to say that all those matters are going to be prioritized. And we are happy about that. And we are happy about the minister that he emphasized that he fully supports this effort. And we really want to see action out of this forum. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll be watching very closely. Thank you so much to all of you for this afternoon and, of course, your insights. That is the acting head of SIU, Leonard Lekgetho, as well as the National Prosecuting Authority spokesperson, Kaiser Khanyago, and water can activist Dr. Ferial Adam.